I'm Dr. Janine Peak Emsick, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this journey of discovery and growth. Here on Your Authentic Executive, we believe that the heart of leadership lies in the stories that we live. After more than 3 decades of executive coaching and consulting, along with teaching leaders at both the MBA and doctoral levels, I've come to understand that the most powerful lessons come from mining the gold in our own life stories. Each month, we'll feature the story of an inspiring executive, delving into the pivotal moments and life lessons that have shaped how they lead today. And leading up to these rich narratives, I'm excited to introduce you to our Your Authentic Executive Sparks. These are 3 powerful lessons lifted from an executive's life that will light the way to our upcoming podcast. If you want to be the first to hear about new episodes of Your Authentic Executive and these illuminating sparks, be sure to follow me on LinkedIn or sign up for our mailing list at yourexecutivecoach.com. I can't wait to share these stories with you and explore the authentic leadership that lies within each of us. Welcome to Your Authentic Executive. I am thrilled to share the story today of our guest, Manger Baw. Manger Baw's earliest days begin in a refugee camp in Thailand, up to where she is today with a startup entrepreneurial enterprise, a social enterprise that kind of capitalized on when social media exploded during COVID. And so it's just an amazing story. And so, Manger, you are officially the youngest executive that we have featured on Your Authentic Executive. Yes. And you have fully earned the presence to be here and share your executive story. And so let me get started as we always do. And I'm going to share probably what's the earliest picture you have of yourself. And that is right here. Tell me a little bit about what we're looking at.
My dad took a picture of me. I remember it was a rainy season because in Thailand we have only like 3 seasons: the hot, hotter, and rain. I remember that time. I think I was on my way to church because every weekend, we will get to hang out with our family because no school. That picture was taken in Opium refugee camp. That's where I spent most of my life from, I would say, 3 years old to 14.
Okay. How old do you think you are in this picture?
I think I was about 7.
Okay. So it's a little bit earlier. So can we back up a little bit? Because this is not where your life began. Your life actually began in a prior refugee camp. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
a little bit background. My parents were indigenous ethnic minorities from Burma. They are called Karen people. The term Karen is adopted by, I think, the British and French at that time, but we call ourselves Knyaw. So because of the, I guess, civil war after Burma gained independence from the British, they pretty much like Burmanized the whole kind of country. And so the ethnic minorities community were kind of really left without freedom because of Burmanization. So my parents fled to Thailand in, I think, the 80s. And then they met in Thailand. And then I was born in one of the camp right at the border. And just a few years after I was born, I would say like 2 years, our camp got fired by the militants that backed by the Burmese military, so that we had to move to a different camp. I remember we would carry out with the like 10 wheel, like the semi truck, the big truck. Like here they will carry animals, but they carry human, I guess, refugees. So it took us about like 2-3 hours from that camp to a different camp. I remember the first week we had cabbage for like, soup for almost every day for like the whole 2-3 weeks while I to build our bamboo houses.
So one of the things you said is the memory of being moved from one camp that had burned down to the other camp in this semi truck that was used to haul animals. And you said that we were treated like animals. Yeah, in that early memory. And so Burma, when Burma became a country, right? And what, if I'm understanding correctly, you're of the Karen ethnic group. Karen is spelled Karen for those of us, for Americans. We tend to say Karen, it's Karen. And that was an ethnic group within Burma, but everything became Burmanized. What's the term that you used?
I think that would be the term, because before World War began, or like colonization, they have like a type of government system, but during the colonization, they kind of, put the whole, I guess, geographic location into like Burma. They, I guess, Burmanized, Upper Burma, Lower Burma, where for us, we are not from Burma. We're from Gothula, which, we have our own geographic location, leaders, and our way of life, language, and culture. But I think when the colonizer came, they just like pretty much make everybody the same.
I've spent some time in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and there's a similar experience there where the boundaries that were the borders that were created for the country, they literally would go through the middle of a tribe. So it was more of they would, as opposed to identifying as an ethnic group, a tribal group. And part of one tribe would be on one half of the border in one country, and the other part of the tribe is in the other country, and they never recognized themselves as being different. It was always the same tribe, and that same kind of thing, it sounds like, happened to your parents, who courageously then fled to Thailand and were in a refugee camp. And so I'm curious, if you were to summarize, what was it like being a child in a refugee camp? What was that like for you?
That's such a great question. What was it like? I remember not really knowing what my future would be like, because we couldn't get out of the camp. We were surrounded by wire fence. And most of the adults that I knew from the camp, they grew up there, they finished high school, they got married, they have kids. So now, like, the women, they become young parents. The dad, usually they try to go find the veggies outside of the camp. Like, they try to sneak out and then bring the food. It's just it's pretty hard, actually. I remember not really knowing what's my future going to be like. But I didn't even have a concept of what is the future, Being young, all I knew was, I have to go play today. I have to eat today. I have to help my mom today. So I did not even have the concept of the future. But I knew that if I were to live in the camp, I would be very stuck.
And there's a story you shared about your dad where he would go and find places to work. And sometimes when that happened, he would get, I don't know if it was arrested or contained.
Yeah.
Can you hear a little bit about that?
Yeah, I remember my mom told me this story of my dad. He went out of the camp to look for a job. And he did not come home. And we later got a message from the Puyai, camp leader, say, oh yeah, some of the, bad people capture my dad, and that they want 2 walkie-talkies to trade for his life. And my mom at the time, we had no money, so we really had to look for help. And that's how they get him back, with 2 walkie-talkies. So it just really showed that we really had to do things outside of the camp to survive. Also, you don't know if you're going to survive, when you go out of the camp to feed your family. It's inside is not good, outside is not good either.
So if you were to summarize kind of, boy, here's what I learned, or here's what shaped me, or here's how I was shaped as a result of my earliest years being growing up in a refugee camp, what would you say?
I would say what I learned was not everyone have the, okay, let me rephrase that. I would say some of the dreams that are simple for other people may not be just simple for us. For some people, it's a big dream. Example, like, going freely, like traveling, going outside of the camp, going to school. For us, it was a privilege. But here, I mean, what is it? Like, it was really hard for us to get. But for some other people around the world, for them, it's like, oh, it's just a basic right, And for us, we did not have that basic right. So what I really learned is it's not fair. Like some people really have to work extra to prove themselves that they deserve something.
You've said that one of the things that you learned is how resilient people are, because the people that were in the camp had to regularly rebuild themselves and reinvent themselves.
Yes, I also learned about resiliency because everyone in the camp, they're also used to it. They had fled like from different villages from inside Burma and then like to Thailand. For them, it's just like, oh yeah, when are we running again? And I would remember sometimes the woman would be like joking, like, cause for them, I think that's a way of coping. They would joke around, okay, why is it quiet? Is something gonna happen? They have like things of joking around themselves where, okay, do we have to afraid for tonight? Are we gonna have to run somewhere? And do I have to pack? And I feel like the women, they bonded so quick because they have that shared experience, but they're so resilient because I remember them where we have to rebuild ourselves in that camp. The men will go get the bamboo, go get the leaves, like build stuff. And the woman, on the other hand, would take care of the kids, will cook with everything that we have. Another person will bring salt, another person we bring like a chicken powder, another person we build rice, So I think that also really remind me of the power of community when it comes to humanity. We are very adaptable and we are wired to care for each other, and that's beautiful.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about your journey to the United States.
So every refugee family were given the chance to apply to come to the, I guess for us it's Western country and third country because we already my parents were at one country and then Thailand for them is a second country. But for me, I was born in Thailand, so I guess this is my second country. But everybody have to apply if they want to come. At that time, I think there's like some political movements in Burma where we're not so sure if we will get to go home, because for me, I don't even know where home is. For my parents, like they do know their home is back, in Burma. But for me, I was born there, so I don't know where's home. But we all have to apply, and then they have like verbal interviews and then medical check and all that stuff. My dad actually was wrongly diagnosed by a Thai doctor during our last stage of medical check. And so he was wrongly diagnosed by, with a tuberculosis. Mm-hmm. His true disease was cancer. So he took wrong medication for a whole 2-3 months. And then he passed. I was about 14, before we came. I think like 13 or 14. I'm 13. And then that was during December. So, in the camp, every December we celebrate Christmas. So in the church, you will see a lot of balloon, a lot of like decoration. But for our family, it's a funeral. So I remember that very vividly because and then the woman team from the church would come and sing. But all of the song is about Christmas. But we have a funeral here. It's like, it's kind of like a party for our family in a way. I'm glad that I had that community, you know, that help us go through that stage. And after that, we waited another year, and then me, my mom, and my older brother then finally got to come to the States. And then
So if I kind of rephrase what I've just heard you describe, you were in the process of applying. There's the paperwork part, and then there's the medical check. During the medical check, which is kind of the last phase of the medical check, your dad was diagnosed with tuberculosis. And if I'm not mistaken, he actually was sent to a camp.
Oh, yeah.
It is a camp for people with illnesses. You guys were separated from him. And probably, did you know what was happening at the time when your dad was in this other camp?
I did not know much what happened, but I was very young. So my older cousins was actually went to help him in the different camp.
Okay. And so then he passed away from cancer, you learned. And that happened around Christmas. So you have this intersection in your life of working to come to America, waiting at that point. This is the last phase. Okay, here we go. Your dad is sick. He's sent to another camp. Your family is still together with the exception of your dad. It sounds like a cousin who is helping. And then at Christmas, about the time you're hoping you're going to America, your dad is there. He passes away in another camp. And all of that is one kind of wrapped around the holiday of Christmas. That's a really complicated month for you, isn't it?
Yes, it was. And it was my birthday.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So how did your family respond then? Because I think that then there was a logistical thing that changed, right? As a result of your dad passing away, what happened to your application process to come to the United States? And then there was a family mourning process of responding to the figurehead of your family passing away.
My mom did not take it well. In our culture, women, you know, are usually just taking care of the kids at home. So they cook. They don't have to worry about like the hard, you know, stuff. Like my dad would, you know, like grow veggies and then work outside of the camp, example, things like that. Now she has to worry about where do we get the money? Where do we buy, you know, food? So she did not take that well. I remember we had 2 pigs, and a few chickens. And I think at that time we already sold our goats, but my dad used to have like stuff like that, you know, animals. So we can like trade it for food later. But now she is responsible for everything. So I remember that really changed the way I see things in like society, in our house, and even within myself. Like, okay, now, you know, I have to be bigger, or I have to think bigger, because I cannot act like a child. I don't have that, you know, father figure. So my mom is now, either she is like taking up that father role, or I have to take up that father role. And I remember my mom was so, I mean, she's a believer, you know, she will pray. So, but also I think part of her is like, I don't think I can do it. I can see that, right? Like I can see she cry. I can see how like she would talk to the pigs, and she was just like, I don't want to sell you, because you also have a attachment to the pigs, but then we needed money. So she has to sell the pigs. And it's just so hard to see that whole thing. But I remember at that point, I started to realize, okay, what can we do to make money? So one time we would sell noodles in front of our house. And every summer, I go to like Bokran church to learn Bokran, because we have a different dialect even in church in our language. But that summer I didn't get to, because I decided to help my mom at home. So my friends would go to school, you know, walk in front of my house, and I would be like, do you want noodles? You know, 3 baht per bowl. And because like she is so like, I don't want to use the word embarrassed, but she doesn't have that guts to like be in front and sell. She will be in the back and cook. So my mom has that personality. So I have to like, you know, put up that face like, yeah, I'm a seller. So Yeah, I remember that very vividly. And we did not last. It was just summer because I have to go back to school for like the whole, academic year. Um, but it was I think I learned a lot. It was hard at that time, but I think being like Korean, we have community, that help us. So
So, how did you end up then? Because you're here now, so there's something between that and selling. It makes me think of that was your version of a lemonade stand. I don't know if you've heard about kids in America selling. You're out front selling that not for fun, for your family's survival. And so something happened between that and you're having this conversation with me here in Omaha, Nebraska. So, what is your journey to the United States?
yeah, after my dad passed, we waited for another year. And that was, I feel like, the hardest part of the whole journey because now I did not have that father figure, and we were just waiting. We did not even know when are we gonna get the acceptance letter from the U.S. But we waited another year, and then we finally came to the States in 2011 on February 15th. And we will land in Las Vegas. So, coming from a bamboo house to a big city with a lot of lights because we got there at night. So I was like, oh, what is this? So yeah, it was a really big transition, I would say.
Did you actually go through? Do you remember if you went through downtown Las Vegas with all of those lights, or are you talking street lights? Did you? Where do?
The downtown light, because you can see the light from our from airport to our apartment. So I remember seeing like those purple hotel. I think it's a Ria hotel. I don't remember the name, but at that time it's all colorful. I remember seeing that through the back of the car, and wow, it's huge. Like those buildings are huge.
So this is just an amazing picture in my mind of you going from a bamboo house in survival mode, right? With dirt streets, am I right? And, selling noodles in front, right? To coming to Las Vegas in America, which is an experience for anybody from this country to go to. And I'm just imagining you going by the Bellagio or the Tropicana or one of those as a refugee. And that's your first impression of the United States, yes?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also remember when I walked into the apartment, I did not like the smell of a carpet. I don't know why. It's just, maybe it's new.
Yeah, it's because so you end up going to school, right? So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I got enrolled at Clark High School. It's one of the biggest high school in Vegas. We had 2,000 students. And I was introduced as Korean by my social worker, which still haunts me today. And the principal also didn't know what I was trying to say. Because at the second day, I tried to tell her to Google me, like Karen, from Burma and Thailand. I tried to make that communication, but I don't know if that go across or like she got the message. But I was introduced by a group of Korean students at the cafeteria, and I just stood like that, like. Ugh.
So you were confused because you're Karen, introduced as Korean, and welcomed to a group of Korean students. Is that right? Okay. And did you speak English at the time?
Oh, it's like dog, cat, rainy summer.
Okay. So you're in high school, is that right? And you're learning the language, dog, cat, right? And were there any other Korean refugees there? So you were it. So you were an anomaly there. Okay. How'd you survive high school?
Ooh, I met this ESL teacher. She had a coupon club. And she said, if I want to learn English, I have to stay after school to help her sort the coupon into, the big folder. That way I can learn English and she can get her stuff organized and then she can buy us stuff. So I love the idea. So I stay almost every day after school to help her with the coupon. And that's how I learned my word too. Like, okay, this, coupon has like toothpaste, has, like a t-shirts with, I don't know, like 60% cotton, like different stuff like that. I will learn it doing after school. So that's how I survive actually with a very good ESL teacher. So I hope she know that I really appreciative of her because that small, I think for her, it might not be a big, thing, but for me, it meant a lot. And I hope she knows.
How did you end up in Omaha?
Yeah, so my mom couldn't find a job in Vegas because you have to speak the language even to work as a hotel worker, housekeeping. And then even with that, you have to like take the bus for like 1 hour to go work at like outside of, the big city. So it was really tough for us to pay back because we also have to pay back the flight tickets and all of the costs that, came with our travel fees and costs. So we heard that we have a big Korean community here, and then our neighbor from the camp was already resettled here in Omaha. And then they said, hey, we have meatpacking plants. Your mom can just work here. She doesn't have to talk to anybody. Just go to work, get the paycheck, get food on the table. And that sounds good to her. And we pray about it that summer, and we said if God is willing, give us the signs. And then at that time we will apply for our green card. And then we just said, okay, if this is God's will, give us the green card during that summer so we can move. And then that's what happened.
So you got your green card and you moved to Omaha. And tell me about that experience, because I'm thinking it was not the same as landing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, when I landed, I saw the river, which made me happy because, I grew up with water, like a stream and like more trees. I have more trees, so I'm very grateful for
trees in a river. Okay.
The trees in Vegas are very dry and they're shorter than me. So, but yeah, Omaha, I really appreciate that it's more earthy, I feel like. So we came and then I started school at Benson High School. I also appreciated that experience in Vegas because I did not have any Korean friends. I learned the language pretty quick. So when I got to Omaha, I adapt pretty quickly. So yeah, and then started school. Honestly, I did not like much about schooling just because I feel like I got distracted a lot by, some of the students who were not really engaged and eager to learn. That part really got me thinking like, oh, I'm tired of school. But after school, I joined Thrive Club. It's like a immigrant club, leadership club that designed for migrant students. So, and that club really gave me the power or like the skills to speak, the skill to make friends, to, with like servant leadership and stuff like this. And then I met a mentor and now a coach, a lifelong coach, friends, mentor. So that was the highlight of my high school career. Did not like school much, but I did like who I met there.
Okay. And my recollection is that even when you came to Omaha, how you represented being Korean was different than what it was like for folks that were Korean here in Omaha. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. I like my physical look. I look more South. I mean, I guess like Korean, Japanese, Chinese. So even some of the Korean friends did not know I'm Korean, which is very interesting. Like, so because I could understand every Korean word that they said, but at the first week I just pretended, so I tried to observe. But later I started to speak in Korean. They're like, what? She's Korean. And it's just very interesting to see those reactions.
Wow. So, tell me, you ended up going to college here in Omaha, right? And so tell me a little bit about how you ended up going to college.
Yeah, my senior year, I got awarded with the Susan Thompson Buffett Scholarship. And at first, I did not really want to go to big university. Like UNO for me, it was way too big. I wanted to go to Grace at that time. I only have the music scholarship at Grace, so it's not going to cover me anything. But then I ended up getting the Buffett scholarship. So decided to go to UNO. But just a few months later, I felt like UNO was home because, I think I have that character or personality where I like to talk to people. I like to make friends. So UNO became home pretty quickly.
Did you realize at the time how significant it might be being associated with something that had Buffett in the name? So that, no?
I knew that they are rich. I did not know they have a community. Like they have buildings everywhere. I did not know they were that big.
Okay. So you went to UNO and you studied.
The first 2 years, I did not know what I wanted to study. I just knew that it has something to do with social work or sociology, and I went with sociology at first. And then my second year summer, I took this public speaking and perspective and communication, something like that. And I just loved it. And I feel like I could do that, for a long time. So I ended up doing communication studies in leadership, and then I minored in sociology.
But you were a pioneer, weren't you, in your communication?
Yes, I was the first.
You were the first what?
The first one, yeah, in study communication.
The first Korean to study communication, yeah. And why do you think that hadn't been studied previously since there was an existing Korean population that I'm assuming also went to college at UNO?
I do think we were like the first generation to get into college. And I didn't even know it is a major called communication. And because like if you translate communication to Korean language, it's just like speaking. And then, they don't have that concept of understanding what communication entails. Where in communication, we do journalism, we do, media writing, nonverbal communication business. Those stuff are not translatable in our home language to help our community understand. So I was I was actually very scared before I chose to major because, I still learned English in high school, and I only had 3-4 years before I had to speak in front of people. And in communication, you have to speak every day. And the class that I took, I remember it started at 7:30. So I have to get ready at 6 to look prepared, look nice to and then, I guess fake it until I make it. Kind of vibe doing that whole year when I started to try communication classes. It was scary, but it's worth it. I like it.
Well, it sure seems like studying communications, landing in communications have become a catalyst for all sorts of things in your life. And that's the good stuff. Also, now that I'd love to touch on a little bit about your journey. So we have a picture here. Look at this. I love this picture of you graduating from UNO. Yes.
Thank you.
And so you graduated from UNO with a degree in communications and leadership. Is that right?
Communication studies concentrated in leadership and organization.
Okay. And so your first role outside of college was with College Possible. Is that right? You were in AmeriCorps?
Yes.
How did you decide to serve with AmeriCorps?
I found people that worked there from my community, TLC community, because I have the Buffett scholarship, I was put into this community where I also have mentors. And my mentors has a friend who served as a coach in College Possible. And they talk about, we like working here because they train you to do the work. And then since you are a government worker, you have better, resume. And for me, what's important for me at that time was me building myself up, not just the money, because at that time I worked part-time at Creighton Dental School and I had the chance to add more hours. And as an interpreter, I make a lot more money compared to this. But I chose this because I see myself having space to grow. And I want to give back to the community. Because as a college coach, you also get to learn about the system of college, what are some of the barriers we have in the States. We have a lot of students who are from low income family who doesn't have accessibility to college like some do. So yes, that's mostly what I do with College Possible.
So you are just getting out of college. You're serving with AmeriCorps. You choose to serve with College Possible in addition to the dental school. Is that right? Even though you didn't make as much money because you saw the potential for you to grow and develop. And while you're doing that in your own recognition of, I got to grow and develop if I'm going to thrive here, you're investing in the next generation of kids that are just going to college. Is that right? Wow, it's a consistent theme. You went from College Possible. Let's see here. Is this with tell me the organization you're with here.
Thompson Learning Community at UNO. So these are the staff that work with students who have the Buffett Scholarship. So like the student like myself 10 years ago. Really long time ago. So yes, and we get to coach students on their strength because UNO is a strength-based school. And then I also get to teach seminar class. That's where I also learn my passion for teaching as well. Because this freshman, sophomore, they are young, but not, young enough they're not like middle schooler. I feel like they're very mature. So I like that better. So I also love that I like to work with young people and I have the passion to teach and to coach.
So, tell me a little bit about what this is a picture of.
So this is my mentor, Kelly. She's a founder of Echo Collective in Lincoln, Nebraska. She founded this nonprofit organization that helped refugee women start business pretty much. So she worked with me for the last year to really coach me through, entrepreneurship mindsets. How do I understand marketing? How do I understand sales and stuff like that I had no previous knowledge of. And my mentor, Dana Livingstone, is a former professor at Wesleyan. He is a interdisciplinary professor, so very well-rounded individual, and that's his wife. And we actually met online. We met on Facebook because I wrote a story, and yes, I wrote a story that got published in Omaha magazine, and then I posted online, and he found me, and then I make a connection with him, and then from there we just like great friends.
And you're holding this large bouquet of flowers. So what's being recognized here?
Yes, I graduated from that cohort of women entrepreneurship coaching.
Hey, okay. And tell me where I've got this photo, and this is a snap of your Facebook group, the Knyaw Academy. And something kind of cool happened during COVID that has resulted in your having 26,000 followers on this. So tell me a little bit about what happened.
Yeah. So during COVID, at that time, I served in AmeriCorps with College Possible, but I was very bored. So I started to record myself talking in a video, not knowing what to do. I just posted online, kept posting things. I actually talk about my experience as a, former refugee, like now as a AmeriCorps member, as a college grad. And there's a lot of our community members, they really appreciated that. So, they asked for more videos, and then I kept uploading it. And then I realized, okay, if I really want to make this a thing, I have to partner with other people. So I started to partner with other people, and it was just a platform where people learn about different majors, about FAFSA, about how to write essays, stuff like that. But then later I have this vision where, okay, I want to turn around a little bit and then go home and see what are the needs. And so a few years ago, I went home and then I really committed to develop these young people who are at the border of Thailand and Burma in terms of self-education and leadership and storytelling.
So the vision here, I'm going to go back to this picture, to promote self-education and lifelong learning by making education possible, equipping the Knyaw, am I pronouncing that correctly? Knyaw youth with the tools and resources they need to thrive and fostering leadership potential and social well-being. And is that kind of your life mission as you understand it today? Okay. So I've got a picture of this lifelong dream that you've had to go back. Tell us a little bit about what happened here.
Yeah, so 2019, after I got my bachelor, I had the chance to go to Korean states in, I guess, Burma, and then met with a lot of students who are really eager and hunger to learn. Because I was once like them. I did not had a future. I was in a wired fence surrounded by, just bushes. But now I'm a privileged Korean American who have the privilege to learn, who have the privilege to connect with, bigger people. I have the opportunity to grow. So I want to do something that can also benefit this community, where not necessarily where I came from, but like the people who look like me.
So this is actually in Burma.
Yes.
So this is the province that your parents were originally from, yes?
Not specifically, but it's just like similar community.
Similar community. And so you went back to Burma to be able to visit these folks that are your ethnic legacy. It's interesting when you said, I'm not sure what home is. Sounds like you don't feel like Thailand is your home. Yes? Would that be?
It's really hard to tell because even though I was born in Thailand, I was never considered Thai and given Thai citizenship because my parents were refugee, right? So I don't think that's my home, but I grew up there. I love the culture. I love how, we have to bow, and that's similar to Korean culture. We address like a older individual with respect. I love those culture. It just like physical home for me is very hard to tell, like, because like some people, they was born one place, they grew up in there, that's their home. But for me, it's like, I was born here, I grew up here, and then I learned here.
Got it. Interesting. So this is a beautiful picture of your wedding ceremony. And where are you in this picture?
The last time we went to Thailand, so 2024.
Okay. And so this was before your trip to Burma.
I went back 3 times. So this is like the second time.
The second time. And then I love this. This is, I was looking at your Facebook. One of the things I love about you and this kind of social entrepreneurial organization that you've begun is your creativity. And so this was posted this Valentine's Day, and you said, single friends, this Valentine's, skip your imaginary date and feed us instead. So this is while you were in Burma, and we gladly welcome donations. And then you look at that, you got a wink and a smile, I think is what I'm looking at here. And while you were on your trip, when I was watching your feed, you just had photo after photo after photo of young people together and often eating. Is that right? Out of large kind of containers like this. And that seems to me that is the communal coming together to eat in a community experience that is part of your life journey. Yes.
Yes. Because one fun fact about culture, because in some culture, when they see each other, they ask, how's work, how's life, how's marriage, stuff like that. But in Korean culture, when we see each other, the first thing we ask is, have you eaten yet? And I'm like, why are we always about food?
Oh, that's interesting. So that's part of coming together then. Have you eaten yet? I love that. So it sounds like the Knyaw Academy, the Knyaw Academy is thriving, that you've got tens of thousands of people around the world engaged. Is that fair to say that it is a global, it is a nonprofit?
Yeah, the way I explain this is so educational services we want to provide for free. we do have a product that we want to sell to make money. So that's why we call ourselves social enterprise. So eventually I want to also, because I just like started this business that will support the academy. I have not launched it yet, but I would definitely share that with you. Eventually it would be products that made by our community member, like the hand woven shirts or the keychains with our, Knyaw character, and like other products like the bamboo plates, stuff like that made by our community. So that way we can also create job for our community back home, and then also create the opportunity to fund our school.
So one of your businesses is then going to be making products that will help fund that and help support the mission-based work that you're doing. But then you also left the Thompson Center and launched your own coaching business. And so tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was very blessed to have certified as a Gallup strength coach when I was working at UNO. So now I am a certified coach who is eager to learn more about other people's strength too. And I do that just for fun with my friends and people that I see that have taken the strength test. So it's a Gallup strength test, and it's a bit pricey, to be honest, but you can get it as like a, bulk, like if you have a team. I think it's really worth it. So I can also coach and facilitate people on straight workshop.
So you're building this coaching business, which ain't a job for wimps. It's a lot of work to actually to grow that business. There's several things I love about your story as we kind of come to a close here. And one is your mom must be amazing.
Yeah.
What have you, like, if you were to say, here's the impact my mom has had on my life and kind of here's what I admire most in my mom, what would you say?
She is a aggressive prayer. I don't know if that's the right word, but she just pray a lot. And like I grew up, because I remember when we first came to the Vegas, because we just got here, me and my brother, we were very tired. But the first thing she did when she walked into the apartment, she called us to pray. And we were just like really like, oh, we were tired. But I remember just everything that she wants to do, she's pray first. Like right now we go shop, we come back, I carry the stuff inside the house. She will go inside, she pray that, we got home safely and just for everything. So I would say that prayer really kept me safe and survive and thrive.
And she's got to be an awfully, I know you shared that she likes to kind of be behind the scenes, but she sure strikes me as having a lot of grit, a lot of resilience, that there's a lot that happened, because she's an example of one of those women who you said, they've been running for so long, they know how to rebuild themselves and move on and be part of community. And she sure strikes me as being a very clear example of having reinvented, not just as a refugee, but as a widow, as a somebody who was settled in, holy cow, Las Vegas. So from bamboo to Las Vegas, there's an image there somewhere that we got to put together, right? And then to Omaha, Nebraska, which is a much simpler life, and is a place where all sorts of ethnicities of refugees are settled here because it is a place where refugees can thrive. She sure sounds like an amazing woman. She's one of, you also have talked about the number of mentors that you've had in your life. Can you share a little bit about the role, like why mentoring is important?
Mentoring is important because they have gone through before you, and human, like I said, we are wired to care for each other, and most adults that I know really care for me. And I think that's what makes my life a difference, because they not only have the skill and the experience, but they have the heart to help. So that's why I think mentoring is so essential to everybody's lives, especially I think young people like me example who had no idea how to navigate this this new country. I couldn't imagine my life without having a mentors, and I can honestly say I wouldn't be here without all these supportive individuals who I call mentors.
And you're already giving it back to others, which is, I mean, you glow. Look at that, you glow when like, what do you love about? Why do you glow when I say you're already giving it back? What is it about that gives you such joy and a sense of purpose?
I really, my philosophy of life is I really believe that God put me here for a reason, and to live with the end in mind. I came to realize that we came to this world to love and to be loved. And I think to love people, you have to have something, to love them with. And for me, it's through my learning. I love to learn. I have that curious, mind. I like to learn new skills. So my dad will always tell me too, when he was alive, like, if you want to help people, you have to have the money. And for me, like, how do I get the money? I have to add values. So how do I add values? I have to have skills. So I have to learn, So I always say this, like, the more you learn, the more you earn, and then the more people you can help. So that's for me is a blessing, for me to be able to do that to other people, because my life, I want it to be a testimony, of God and of resiliency and of adaptability and growth. I know I'm like still scared, like nowadays, even as a young entrepreneur, as a young individual and professional, but I think the reason behind it is worth fighting for, because I do believe that these young people back home, they deserve everything that we have here, right? Like, basic fundamental need, like human right, education, food. So we have to do what we can to also share our blessing with them.
Manger, I am just so thankful that our paths crossed as part of the Gratitude Summit. So that's not ironic at all. And I'm thrilled for what the future holds for you. I'm thrilled for the impact that you will make. I'm grateful for the impact that you have made. And I'm grateful for the resilience that you've built in this story. Some individuals go through a journey like you've had, and they come out of it bitter and focusing on the hardship. And you continue to focus on the possibilities and the hope and the strength. And that pioneer of a communications degree that you've got, I'm excited to see where those ripples of communication kind of land around the world. And so thank you for your time today, Manger.
Thank you. You are a big part of my journey too.
Well, thank you for that.